It starts with a radio crackle you can't mute. Your uniform is stiff, your boots are new, your badge is shiny in a way that feels almost dishonest. You sit in a patrol car that smells like disinfectant and old coffee and somebody else's sweat. A veteran officer is driving, you're in the passenger seat. He tells you the same sentence every rookie hears. Relax, just watch and learn. Then the radio spits out your first call. Domestic, apartment complex, someone screaming in the background, and you realize something immediately. This job isn't a movie. It's a machine that runs on people having the worst day of their lives, and you arriving right in the middle of it. This is a story about power inside a police department. The visible power and the hidden power, not a recruiting ad, not a hate piece, a breakdown of roles, incentives, politics, and pressure. Because the police isn't one thing, it's a ladder. And every rung changes what you can do, what you're allowed to ignore, and what you'll be blamed for. Level 1, the rookie. You don't start with power. You start with permission. Your authority is real, but it's borrowed. You have a badge, a uniform, and the law behind you. But you don't have trust yet. Not from the public, not from your own department. Your field training officer. Your FTO controls your world. He decides when you talk on stops. He decides what you write in reports. He decides whether your mistakes become lessons or become stories. And stories are currency in a precinct. If you're a good rookie, your name floats upward in conversations. If you're a bad rookie, your name becomes a warning. The academy taught you policy. The street teaches you reality. The street teaches you that every call has two versions: what happened and what can be proved. It teaches you the calendar that runs everything: shift change, court days, overtime approvals, mandatory training, paper deadlines, and it teaches you the quiet truth nobody says in the graduation ceremony. The department doesn't run on justice. It runs on risk management. Not always in a corrupt way, not always in a noble way, just in the way big institutions survive. The first time you feel power isn't when you put the uniform on. It's when a stranger changes their behavior because you're present. A car slows down when you pull behind it. A group quiets down when you step out of the cruiser. Someone stops yelling mid-sentence because you're there. And your brain notices it like a drug. You don't say it out loud. You tell yourself you're just doing your job. But your body remembers the feeling. I can change the room. You learn what you can't do. You can't decide which calls matter. You can't ignore the ones that don't. You can't use discretion the way veterans do because, as a rookie, you are always being watched. Body camera, dash cam, supervisor, partner, dispatch logs. Sometimes the public too, phones out, recording. You're not just trying to do the right thing. You're trying to do the right thing in a way that won't get you fired. And those are not always the same path. Your first arrest doesn't feel like TV either. The physical moment is quick. But then comes the real work, the report. You sit at a computer for hours describing minutes of real life. Every word is a brick that can build a case or collapse it. You learn the department's sacred language, observed, subject stated, based on my training and experience. You learn to write in a tone that sounds neutral even when you're not. And a veteran tells you something that sticks. Your report is your shield. You don't fully understand it yet, but you will. Your ethics test doesn't arrive as a villain moment. It arrives as boredom, a routine call, a small situation, a tired decision. A veteran officer suggests a shortcut. Not a dramatic crime, a small bend. Skip a detail that complicates the paperwork. Use a phrase that sounds cleaner. Don't mention the part that makes it messy. You pause. Your partner watches you. Not angry, not threatening. Just waiting to see what kind of person you are. And you understand how culture is transmitted not through speeches, through small permissions. It's not the mayor, not the chief, not the community. At your level, power looks like this. Your FTO deciding whether you pass, your sergeant deciding whether you're worth the time, dispatch deciding whether you get slammed with calls, the schedule deciding whether you sleep, the complaint system deciding whether your week is ruined. You learn quickly. The public sees your badge. The department sees your liability. And as long as you're a liability, you're not powerful. You're manageable. After your probation, you become a real officer. You're no longer a rookie, but you're still not in control of your life. You're just trusted to survive without constant supervision. You start thinking about the next step up. Detectives don't answer every radio call. Detectives don't take every report. Detectives don't stand in the rain directing traffic. Detectives get respect. Detectives get time. Detectives get to decide what matters. You tell yourself that's what power looks like. Then you get your first big case as patrol, something serious. And you realize the darker truth. Power isn't just choosing what you do. Power is choosing what you don't do. Level 2, the detective. Making detective doesn't happen because you're the best. It happens because you're positioned. Maybe you test well. Maybe you're liked. Maybe you kept your head down and your numbers up. Maybe a vacancy opened at the right time. You move from the street into an office. Your uniform becomes optional. Your schedule becomes flexible, which means your job follows you home. Your desk has piles of files. Your phone has numbers you don't save by name. You drink coffee that's always cold. And the first thing you learn is this. As a detective, you don't chase criminals. You chase cases. TV says success is solving the case. Real life says success is something more bureaucratic. Getting charges that stick. Building a narrative that survives court-closing cases before they rot. Protecting the department from embarrassment. And sometimes choosing which cases get attention at all. You have more autonomy than patrol, but you also have more exposure. If a patrol officer makes a mistake, it's a mistake. If a detective makes a mistake, it becomes an investigation because detectives touch the part of the system that faces the public. Major cases, media pressure, political pressure, community pressure, and now you understand why detectives can be feared inside a department. They don't just arrest people, they decide what becomes official truth. In patrol, the radio tells you where to go. As a detective, you decide where to focus. 2 cases land on your desk. One is messy. No witnesses, no video, no clean story. The other has a clear suspect, clean evidence, and a fast path to charges. You want to do both. You can't. So you prioritize. And that's where power becomes moral weight. Because prioritizing isn't neutral, it shapes which victims get justice and which victims get paperwork. The detective's secret is that your work is half truth, half timing. Witnesses forget, phones get wiped, people move, stories change, lawyers find cracks. If you're too slow, your case dies quietly. If you're too aggressive, your case becomes a scandal. So detectives learn a tone. Calm, skeptical, controlled. The same tone scammers use, the same tone managers use, the same tone anyone uses when they need other humans to comply. You begin to recognize a pattern across all power systems. The higher you rise, the more your job becomes managing people's emotions without looking like you are. The promotion to sergeant doesn't feel like a victory lap. It feels like a key turning in a lock. No parade, no confetti, just a new title, a new set of expectations, and a sentence you'll hear more than you expected. Handle it. You get stripes on your sleeve. You get a phone that rings at the wrong times. You get a desk that faces the room. And the first thing you notice is how fast people's faces change around you. Officers who joked with you yesterday watch what they say today. Because now you're not just a coworker, you're a decision. Level 3, the sergeant. Sergeant is where the job stops being about doing police work and becomes about making police work happen. Your day is built from interruptions. A call holding, a rookie panicking, a detective demanding resources, a lieutenant asking why numbers are down, a citizen complaint landing on your desk like a brick. You're not the chief. You're not a politician, but you're the person who makes the machine look functional. That's what sergeants are, the layer that prevents chaos from being visible. As a sergeant, you control 5 things that quietly define careers. 1, assignments. Who rides with who gets which sector, who gets the good beats, who gets the bad ones. 2, time. Overtime approvals, breaks, court coverage, just a quick call that becomes your whole shift. 3, paper reports, corrections, addendums, whether a mistake becomes a coaching moment or a write-up. 4, tone. You set the emotional temperature of the room. Calm spreads, panic spreads faster. 5, cover, not cover-ups. You decide when an officer gets back up operationally and administratively. And what controls you? Liability, staffing, politics, public trust. You can't personally rebuild in a chain of command that always wants one thing: no surprises. You think your job is supervision. Then you learn your real job is preventing the department from becoming tomorrow's headline.